That's just how it's going to go. So, welcome everybody to Technical Difficulties. That should be the name of a podcast if it isn't one, because that is exactly what we've had the last, 15, 20 minutes. I'm your host today, Craig Anderson, and I'm joined by
David Allen. Hope everybody is doing well. My esteemed co-host over here has had plenty of technical issues, so now I'm just waiting for mine to pop up so we can try to not delay this another 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on today, but there's something in the air. Like I said, it's Friday. Again, you are joined with the two of us on the Microsoft Unboxed podcast. Officially, this is episode 78. We are going to be talking about quite a bit of news, or we're going to be, like I said, talking about extensively a few topics. On the dock today, we have OpenAI's concerns about Google's rapid development of Gemini, which seems to be kind of shaking everybody. They just released a new, is it a video editor, a video algorithm AI, video large language model that's pretty impressive. And they are also figuring out creative and potentially profitable ways to filter Gemini throughout all of its offerings, which are extensive. So yes, everyone should be worried about that. We're also going to be talking about Alienware's new AMD chip that they're putting in, the X3D processor. We're going to go into details about why you should be interested in that, and perhaps looking away from Intel when it comes to gaming in more ways than one. We're also going to be talking about the Microsoft Store Awards 2025, which have leaned heavily on AI. So much so that they may have just used AI to make the picks instead of actual people who go to the store, which we see in the comments from the award, from the apps and games that were chosen, that users weren't on board with it. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there. We're going to be also talking about Microsoft 365's commercial getting more expensive in 2026. So if you are looking to hold on to more dollars, Microsoft's looking to wrangle those away from you somehow. We're also going to be talking about Microsoft realizing it's losing its AI advantage. It had this big show of, we're going to make Google dance, and now Google's dancing and tap dancing all around Microsoft while they stand still. So Satya Nadella might have done some ketamine, went into some kind of weird study hall. I don't know. He did something over the weekend and was like, how do we make Microsoft more nimble? And he should have just asked Steve Ballmer, because that was the question that plagued him for, 10, 15 years, and he never got an answer. So who knows if Nadella will be more successful in that venture. But before
I think the comparison should be.
We're starting to show off with a new segment, which is about what's been irking us throughout the week. And I'm going to let David run with this one. He looks like he's ready to go.
Well, yeah, I'm ready to go, because you know, a lot of people don't know that we have recorded this part twice, so I might have to change my list up a little bit. That is part of what's irking me, is AI and these companies spending all this money on AI, and then we're cutting people's jobs. Like something I thought about while you were having your technical difficulties. Our power company here is Duke Energy. And Duke Energy is petitioning for their second, that I'm aware of, so I can make sure I'm accurate, their second price increase for the year for power. And I was looking at, in our app, you can compare from day to day, week to week, what your power was this year versus last year. And my power pretty much stays on track. But I was noticing how the bill has definitely not stayed on track and has gone up more than I have realized. So I was watching some of the social media outpouring of this, and there were a lot of people that I didn't realize were paying attention, saying, why don't these blank AI data centers pay for their own blank power and stop running my bill up every quarter? And then I thought about it. AI, we've done some good things with it. We've seen it generate content. Unfortunately, we've seen it replace people's jobs. That's what irks me. And I saw AI last night in a Christmas cartoon, folks. A Christmas cartoon that you could tell had been completely redone with AI. Why? So they don't have to pay the actors and the production cost. That irritates me because Christmas is always a little special to me. It always has been in my family. Us nieces, nephews, brothers, and sisters, when we were young, had a lot of fun watching these Christmas videos, making cookies, and doing the whole thing. Now, it's just AI. We took my little niece to see The Grinch last night. The Grinch was at the local library telling Christmas stories. She had a ball. She had a ball. When we come home, we turned on the Christmas cartoon. She looked at me. She said, Uncle Dave, these aren't real. And even she could tell that she didn't like those cartoons. She preferred the other cartoons. So that is what's irking me. And I heard one of yours, so I'm going to pick on one of yours with Christmas lights. You know, Govee, Philips Hue, and some of the other lesser known name brands out there, they're wonderful. I enjoy my lights. I used to be that person that hated RGB on a computer. Now I've got Christmas lights everywhere. I've got RGB everywhere. I've got RGB behind me, but it's not appropriate for you guys to see here on the pod. So, you know, kind of like you, the ones that I have say Bluetooth. They come with the app. They Bluetooth connect. You can change it to multi-millions of colors, make them do all kinds of things. But you have to connect each strand to Wi-Fi. So what do I see when I pull up my Wi-Fi devices? Like 12 different Wi-Fi devices connected to my network using good old 2.4. The most crowded spectrum there is. So each strand is that way. But
Yeah.
They're Bluetooth. No. Then why are they connected to the Wi-Fi if they're Bluetooth?
Gotta spy on your internet activity somehow.
Something is, because my sister bought some too, and I asked her, I said, what, yours say Bluetooth? She put hers outside. She bought the outdoor version. And she was standing in her house changing the colors. And I had to tell her, though that's not Bluetooth. Bluetooth is not going to go through your roof from where you are and change your Christmas lights. It's not going to happen. And
hey, you won't know until you try it.
Exactly. But, she says, but it says they're connected via Bluetooth. I said, well, that's some type of Bluetooth signal that I've certainly never seen before.
Yeah, no, the lights thing bothered me this weekend. We bought some new lights, or last week. Bought some new lights, QR code to connect to the internet. Can't Christmas lights just be Christmas lights that light up inside your house, outside your house? And maybe, the most advanced technology in them is just a timer. Maybe they go on at dusk and turn off at dawn. That is about as far as I need as far as the technology. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I know the people out there that put on light shows might see an advantage in that. People who entertain the neighborhood, yes. But for the vast majority of us, just give us lights that last more than a season. I remember I had Christmas lights as a kid that I felt like, and again, maybe my dad was just changing them when no one was looking, but those things went on for years. And then when they need to be fixed, they all had the giant teardrop bulb that you could buy at any hardware store, screw it in, and you were set for another 5 to 10 years. Now the LEDs, they go out, you got to replace the entire strip. You got to reconnect the Bluetooth, reconnect the Wi-Fi, get back on the internet. It's a process. So my gripe is too many interconnected things. My next gripe, though, and again, I feel like, we got to, as we're setting up the pod, is one that I think everyone's going to have. And that's the news that came out last night about Netflix and HBO Max, HBO Go Get Max, whatever they call it now. We are now potentially in the post Big Four streaming service land canvas, we have, what is it, Apple, right?
Mhm.
We got Netflix. We have Amazon.
Mhm.
And I think we have HBO. Those are like the big four. And then everyone else got cute during the pandemic and thought, hey, who wants to see Tubi? Who wants to see, Showtime's own app that no one cared about? Who wants to see, Cinemax? All these random, I need my own app.
Well,
type things.
I have an idea.
Oh, Disney. So it's a big five. We can't forget about Disney.
I have an idea. I'm making a joke here now. I'm smarter than what I'm about to say. Folks, why don't we just put all these services together and pay one bill? Oh, wait, we tried that. It was called cable TV.
How dare you, David Zasloff? I know what your scheme is. I've seen it. I wasn't born yesterday. I was born when cable was a thing. You're right. And I feel like we're slowly getting back to that, but with less choice somehow. Anyway, the details for anybody who's interested is that I believe that Netflix won the bid. Let me see what the amount was for. As I look that up, just know that, again, it's the bid for it, not necessarily the win. They still have to go through, what is it? The
FCC.
which is kind of run by the Trump administration. So there's a good chance that this doesn't go through. And for those of you who don't study tech or aren't as involved as the rest of us might not know, is that Larry Ellison, and I believe that's the father of David Ellison, who owns Paramount, they are good friends with the Trump administration, and they wanted to buy out HBO Max. And I believe they may have even bid higher for it. I don't know what happened in the twilight hours of last night when the deal went through, but the acquisition is valued at approximately $82.7 billion, which is what Netflix is willing to drop in for this thing. And they will, I think they're going to get the extensive library of franchises like Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and they will keep them as a separate service for right now. So you'll still be paying twice as much for two streaming services. And who knows, you'll probably get Netflix going up ever so slightly, if not more blatantly in price, because they're going to have to pay down this acquisition, as we've learned from Microsoft's wheelings and dealings. But I think the idea is that at some point in the future, you will combine these two things and have all of the movies on Netflix. The reason why I put this as a gripe, and also part of just something we need to talk about, this is the further consolidation of media. Now, if it was under the Larry Ellison Paramount version, it's questionable what the quality of movie was going to be like that comes out of these. David Ellison isn't known for stewarding a great ship full of movies. They, seem to adhere to Duke Bros when it comes to making certain types of movies. But the idea is that they still want to make movies. Netflix are openly hostile to movies. Their entire business model is anti-movies and anti-theater. So if I had to make a prediction about this, if it goes through, is that we're going to see fewer movies in theaters, more movies as the Netflix release model. So you can get them day and date, which is great for any of those who wanted the convenience of seeing movies. But you will miss out on being able to get movie-style popcorns, all those investments in the crazy 3D theaters, the big box movies like the Mission Impossibles, the Marvel, big wig movies, Odyssey, I think coming out pretty soon. Anything that Christopher Nolan does, stuff like that would have been done in theaters will probably be shuffled off into Netflix. And who knows if they'll keep it there. That's the other big thing, is that when you go to HBO Max now, you can go see some of the old movies, most of the old movies. Netflix likes to shuffle, and they do this 3-card Monty thing where they'll have a movie in for 8 to 9 months to a year, and then they'll get rid of it for 3 years and bring it back as like a new thing for 6 months, and they get rid of it again. And so I don't see a lot of upside to this merger. I also just see it as a trend that's been really annoying me, as far as things being bought up and then bad things happening afterwards. I'm gonna let David jump in before we move on to our actual topics.
Well, before we jump into our actual topic, let me ask, maybe if you want to answer, how many people, you see these Rocket Mortgage commercials and all these other commercials where we'll help you find how much you pay on recurring streaming bills, and streaming is the example, blah, blah, blah. Use our app and we will help you find the things that you pay for that you don't know you're paying for. And, that really made me take a look at my bank account. We're all guilty. We sign up for Netflix. We sign up for the HBOs because there's something on there we want to see. And next time we turn around, we have paid for 12 months of those services and watched 3 shows. We're all guilty. And it makes me wonder, because I watch other people's habits. A lot of people just watch good old YouTube. They pay their YouTube premium subscription. They watch content like ours. They watch other content. They watch the movies and the shows that are available on YouTube. But a lot of people go down the YouTube rabbit hole, laying in bed, sitting on the couch, whatever, and they've watched, 30 minutes of a show like ours and maybe a couple more. And, next thing they know, it's bedtime. So let me ask you folks a question. How many people actually need this bundle of streaming services? I don't. There are a couple things that I like to watch on Netflix, but nothing I can't live without. Nothing I can't find somewhere else. And same with HBO Max. Who has seen a rock star movie like something from our generation, maybe a Superman, a Batman, the big things that you ran to the theater for, and these studios, ran the special Happy Meals and did everything they, put the toys out, did everything they could to promote that movie or promote that franchise. When's the last time you saw one of those that you had to, run to your streaming service to watch? I can't think of any.
I mean, if I had to play devil's advocate, I think it'd be maybe the Stranger Things, but even to your point, I've lost interest. And I think that's partly just by the way the production has gone for that show. Like you take off a year or two and you lose me, because there's so many other things I could watch, so many YouTube videos I could be entertaining myself with, and information that I could be reading or gathering. So, I mean, I understand the model of like, hey, I'm sure there's some Apple TV shows that have been, being nominated for stuff, and people are like, you need to get Apple TV in order to see it. But they also just come out so often and so frequent that it's hard to keep up. There's stuff on Amazon like Reacher that I really enjoy, but beyond that, I don't know if I necessarily need it. I like The Boys, which is good. But I think at the end of the day, it still comes down to, I think someone asked this on Blue Sky, and I responded to him earlier today about it. Why couldn't Warner Brothers just be Warner Brothers? And my response was, because line must go up. And it's to the detriment of everything we like, or at least all of us olds enjoyed about life. We are losing options. We're losing choice. We're losing, the freedom in our time, because line must go up. Warner Brothers could maintain, if they just made quality things and set their expectations for investors, or set the investors' expectations to a certain level, that, hey, line will stay steady. You'll still be rich. You won't be richer than you were yesterday, but you'll still be as rich as you were today. But because line must go up, being steady, being even, is seen as a failure. So they're like, we got to dump it. We got to get rid of this stuff. And now we're losing Warner Brothers as an option in the streaming services. And who knows, down the road, maybe Apple buys both Netflix and this new acquired Warner Brothers, because they have the money to basically buy out pretty much any and everybody that they want. Maybe not all at once, but I think if they wanted to, they could buy out Disney probably. I think they have enough money, cash on hand. I think Amazon is probably the only other one in the streaming business that they couldn't outright buy. But for everybody else, they could at some point if they decided to, and we had an administration, FCC, that allowed this merger to go through, and we'd all be stuck with Appleflix or Max Apple or whatever they're going to call it. I think if we can all restructure our society where line doesn't always have to go up, line can stay neutral, people can enjoy life while light is neutral, we'd be in a much better place. Enough about pontificating and our frustrations. Let's talk about things that also make us upset that are foundational to what we report on at Microsoft Unboxed. I'm gonna let you start off with our first headline.
Well, I've got one here, and I'm going to try to shorten this up, folks. So I really try not to bore you or keep you till we can move on to something else. We have an issue, guess what, in the AI world.
What?
OpenAI is concerned about Google's rapid Gemini AI development. Well, what do you know? Why would OpenAI be, without me just, reading the story and boring you folks, why would OpenAI be concerned about Google's rapid deployment? Well, let me help you. There's this thing. It's called money. And OpenAI has been bleeding money for at least a couple years that we can officially report on. We know about those $10 billion loans. Let's get it out there. Loans to OpenAI. OpenAI is essentially selling you a model that was popular in the beginning. That now everyone else has a model. So the OpenAI model is no longer special. So Sam, as you see here in our picture, I'm sure he's having some sleepless nights. Maybe him and Sasha are sharing a hotel room. Maybe they're sharing hotels. But they're wondering, where's the next dose of money? We already saw in our post that you put up that people at OpenAI are on the hot seat to come up with the next greatest thing. But now, let me ask you a question. Why would Google have such a lead? Because Google has this thing called Google. And they have this thing called Gmail, where love them or hate them, they're gathering data. They have been gathering data for years, decades at this point. They learned how to build models, like our friend Sam here, OpenAI. So Google is able to take this massive amount of data that they have, because Google is basically the internet. You ask somebody these days, some young person, Google is the internet. If Google goes down, there's no internet to some of these people. So Google is the internet. Let's play that for a minute. They have all the data. They just punch it in their model, mix it up in the Christmas tree mixer, pour it in the next bowl. Mix it up, pour it in the next mixer, pour it in the next bowl. I think everybody should be concerned about what Google is up to. Because there's one thing that Google will always have: data. They will always have it. You don't have to worry about Google scraping your data. Guess what? They're already doing it because everybody wants to be in google.com. And I know this kind of went off in a general summary direction and a little bit of a fun discussion of how this post came out. And OpenAI is responding, and I'm going to let you pick up on some of that. But I understand why OpenAI is upset. I would be too. Because you're taking people's money and you're not producing products that are producing revenue to show these people that, hey, we can pay you back. And I think Sam's in a bad spot.
He's definitely in a bad spot. And I'm going to take this one a level deeper. If we extrapolate what a large language model does, especially what OpenAI did, it gobbled up all the internet. So as far as having the data, I think they are on relatively level playing fields as far as the internet is concerned. Now, as far as personal data, you're absolutely correct. Google has way more of that. But as far as the data that it can ingest and regurgitate to people, I think both models should be relatively good. The problem that OpenAI has is that it doesn't have as many products to put these models into to find out as quickly as Google will find out what is profitable. It has ChatGPT, but Gemini can be put in Mail, it can be put in Workspace, it can be put in Android, it can be put in Chrome OS, it can be put in Search, it can be put in Android Auto, it can be put into Waymo, it can be put into so many things that Google can then, throw spaghetti at the wall and say, hey, that noodle stuck. ChatGPT has just the one noodle and the one wall, and it keeps sliding down no matter how al dente they cook this thing. So in relation, obviously we talked about this as a code red. They're basically putting everyone on deck. I think they are shuffling developers into a new project. I don't know what the project is actually called. Let me see. I had it in my write-up. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but they are putting basically people into a new project to address this, to say, hey, we need to develop as quickly as Google is developing and stay abreast. Now, again, OpenAI has, I think we're in GPT model 5 dash something or other. They're developing pretty quickly. The leaps and bounds that Google is seeing is, again, because they have more personal user data to customize these models and make them more than just internet regurgitators. And so that's where they're seeing the gains. OpenAI will have to figure out a way to do that. And I'm sure they're going to partner with our buddies over at Microsoft to see if they can pull out as much user data. And again, Microsoft is a big consumer company, so it's gonna be hard, but they at least have business data to try and compete with this. We will see how they move going forward, but they're already at an issue right now, OpenAI, and they've only been really a household name for the last 2.5 years. That's a bad sign, especially when no one is willing to buy you. I think they're looking to go public. And if they're having this much issues with one competitor out of the gate before they've gone public, it doesn't bode well for the longevity of this company. Usually when a company has issues, they can lean on someone to be like, hey, we will buy what it is you provide and integrate it. But everyone's already licensed what they provide. Everyone's been paying not for the language model itself, but for the prediction and what they believe will be the future of this language model and what products they can build on it. And so far, no one's finding out. We will keep an eye on this, let you guys know where we see this going, if any products come to fruition. I doubt anything's gonna happen over the next few weeks as we go into the holiday season, but we will keep writing about it. The next headline we got is Microsoft's advantage is slipping away in AI, ironically.
We're on the slip and slide. We got one going this way down the wall. We got one going this way. Will they meet in the middle? Tell me about it.
Exactly. As we said, it's not just a code red at OpenAI. There seems to be a code red in Microsoft, but it was introduced so casually and subtly that you'd be hard pressed to see it as a code red. Over the weekend, Satya Nadella apparently decided to explain to Business Insiders, and I believe the interviewer was Axel Springer. No, I'm sorry. Axel Springer is the CEO of Mathis Dolphin. Him and Nadella were talking, and Nadella confessed to him that he spent this weekend studying how startups build products because Microsoft's sprawling bureaucracy has slowed its ability to move at speed. I don't know why he decided to do this now, because Microsoft's been at 120,000 employees plus. I think they're at 200,000 right now. It's been a sprawling business since he's been at the helm for the last, 11 years or so. I don't know why this weekend seemed to be his epiphany. I hint at maybe some drugs, some hallucinogens. It doesn't have to be cocaine, but maybe he did some mushrooms or something. It was like, we need to be more nimble. I'm awakened to this. But this entire weekend I spent, quote from Nadella, this entire weekend I spent all the time trying to get myself to understand how companies are building products and lamenting that at Microsoft's decisions are filtered through 3 divisional heads instead of one scrappy table of engineers. I'm going to tell you right now, it sounds great. If you're an investor, this sounds like the things that you want your CEO to do, but I'm calling BS. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm calling BS. They're right beside you. it's interesting to see how AI is tangling these companies up. Some of our biggest tech companies, AI was, look at this great thing we've done. What? Let's call it 3 years ago now. Wouldn't you say it'd be 3 years ago since we've seen the first AI?
Mm-hmm.
Since we've seen Copilot version 1.0. And everybody said, look at this great thing. Gemini, look at this great thing. OpenAI, look at this great thing. ChatGPT, look at this great thing. Now it's tangled everybody up. And everybody wants to know how everybody else is doing it. It's fun to watch. It's great to report on. We enjoy it. But I'm not sure that anybody wins. Because a language model, I'm about to get poked at for saying this. A language model is a language model. Data is data. So if Microsoft scrapes the internet, builds their language model, that's their AI. The implementation is where you win. That is why Satya Nadella is watching how these startups, did you hear the word that my buddy here called out, startups? He's paying attention. How are they using AI to start this? What product or service can we offer? Anybody remember, I believe it was Spark Biz or something like that? If you were a new business owner, you could sign up for this program that Microsoft would, walk you through, and they would help you build your vision using their product. Now, I may have the name wrong, but I believe it was Spark Biz for a while. And this kind of feels like the same way. So Sasha's sitting at home, drinking his coffee, his tea, whatever he chooses. Maybe he's drinking vodka at this point. But
You better be drinking something good.
Yeah, it better be good. But I think he's trying to figure out what service can we offer a business to help them build their product, their dream. What can we get in Azure to make them pay that monthly subscription for, so I can take that back to the investors and go, look, we're selling on both ends. We're selling Copilot and we're selling Azure. Look, this is what we did. That's what he's looking for.
Well, and I agree with everything you said. I also, like I said, I call it post BS because I think the timing seems coincidental.
Odd.
The timing seems coincidental that OpenAI is worried about Google and that Microsoft's trying to move as a startup. And I think what they're saying is they're seeing how quickly Google is moving. They don't want to be a startup. I don't even think startups want to be a startup. It's fun to have that ethos of, hey, we worked out of our parents' garage all night and ate pizza. We came up with something. But the idea, the goal at the end of the day, and this goes back to our earlier discussion about what peeves us, is that the line must go up. Everybody wants to be as big as Microsoft and Apple and Google. Mm-hmm. That is your goal at the end of the day. For most people, there are very few rare, souls that are saying, you know what, this is enough for me. But for the most part, because we live in a capitalist society, everybody wants to be big. No startup wants to stay a startup. They want to start off as a startup and get to a point where they're entrenched like Microsoft, whatever product they made becomes bigger than what they initially envisioned it as. So it's ironic that Microsoft is already in the position that everybody envies, and it wants to go back to being a startup that, again, nobody really wants to be. They just have to be that because they have to start from zero. When you start from zero, going to 100 seems awesome. But when you're at a billion, going to 100 seems redundant and kind of dumb. So that's why I call BS, because again, I think when he makes $49 million a year as a CEO of one of the world's largest companies, most entrenched around the world companies that provide several products that are household brand names, there's no way that he wants to go back to being a startup or even develop like a startup, because that would break how big they currently are. I think what he wants to do is be able to compete with how quickly Google is moving. And Google is moving this way because they found a lane in consumers that opened up a ton of avenues that allows them to do more than Microsoft. Microsoft, again, under Ballmer, he tried and failed several times to crack that egg and get into those extemporaneous markets of consumer ability. Now they're fickle, but they offer you quicker things to go after, and that Google was able to do that. Microsoft, when Nadella came in, he shut off all those lanes and said, we're business only, ironically. And now he's stuck trying to figure out how to make business work, or how to make AI work for business. And it's a slow trudge, and it's not guaranteed that it will even get there. But if Google can corner business as well as all of the consumer avenues, it could find something that'll work faster. And I think that's where I think it's what he's honestly saying. And again, it's just to your point, it's a troubling sign because again, everyone's invested billions. I think the industry itself is worth trillions, and yet the profitability is probably in the hundreds of millions, if that, right now. And it shows no sign of going up.
I'm holding something here. You know what? We'll have a little fun with this for 15 seconds. Yeah. You know what could have helped, Sasha? This. See what this is? It's called a phone.
On phones? Yes.
It's called a phone because I watch my usage habits, and I'm sure a lot of people are out there the same. What do I do when I'm not at my desk? I tap this little button here on the right-hand side. It just brings up Google Gemini, and I ask it my question. We have our conversation. We have our, I get what I need. I hit the button again, close it, and I move on. When I'm at my PC, I tend to pick up Copilot because it's readily accessible. Here's a complete market that Sasha cannot be readily accessible in, whether it's business or consumer. He's missing out. So I feel like he's also got to make that up on the business side of things.
Yeah, it's ironic that Bill Gates wanted a computer in every room, every house. And it seems like once they got there, they're like, all right, that was enough. They tried to do it with phones and didn't realize how crucial it was to keep at it until it worked. And now they're going to go with cloud, which again, they're doing great in cloud. It's not undermine that. They're hand over fist in cloud. The problem is I think they over leveraged in AI saying, all right, we've done great in cloud. We're doing great in cloud. What's the next big thing? And everyone said AI, and they said, all right, put our money there. They're like that meme with a little kid throwing money out the window. That's what Nadella is doing right now. We'll see if someone taps him on the shoulder, sorry, stop throwing our money away, bring it back in, cut it where it needs to be at. AI is nothing more than spell check on steroids, a little digital assistant. Let's move on. Let's figure out what's in the cloud still. We're going to be talking next about, we'll do another business story. We got Microsoft 365 commercial going up. This will be a short one, short and upsetting still. But for those of you who are dependent on my Microsoft 365 commercial, you are being gaslit. I'm going to just say it about the AI features that it's bringing to the platform. I believe, let me see, who is this exactly? Nicole Herskowitz. Now, I'm not blaming her. I'm sure she has to toe the company line, but she's saying she's the corporate VP. She points out that over 1,100 new features have been released across Microsoft 365 Security, Copilot, and SharePoint in the past year, plus enhanced AI-powered security and management tools. And because of all that, your prices for Microsoft 365 go up from basic being $6 a month, I believe, now moving up to $7. The standard being $12.50, currently going up to $14. Premium stays at $22. Office 365 E1 stays at $10. Office 365 E3 goes from $23 to $26. Microsoft 365 E3 goes from $36 to $39. Microsoft 365 E5 goes from $57 to $60. The F1 goes from $6 to $7. And if you are an F3 person, or F3 client, you go from $8 to $10. And if you are on versions without Teams, expect an equivalent dollar increase for those as well. The takeaway is
nothing for F9, F10, F11, or F12.
I didn't see anything in there. Those buttons are useless. But the takeaway is, again, I think as Microsoft or Nadella had his awakening over the weekend, he's realizing that if he can't move as quickly as a startup, he can price as big as a behemoth. When you are becoming entrenched and one of the only options, what you do is you throw your weight around. That is why a lot of people are against mergers, and I'm becoming one of those people very quickly or very rapidly because you need Office. Workspace doesn't cut it for a lot of people. AWS's equivalents even though there are Linux-based, they may not be equivalent. So you're stuck with going into the office, and they're saying, hey, if we can't we can't find a way to charge consumers enough to subsidize this, we're just going to have to take our main product and charge, raise the bill on it. What are your thoughts on prices going up in 2026? And they start in July, by the way. So you have next 3 months to figure out your plan.
At least you got 6 months to figure it out, but you really don't have 6 months to figure it out. And I'm going to tell you why. Our Office 365 subscription renews tomorrow. Let me clue people in on a little something here. Unless you want to pay the top dollar amount, you can pay month to month. What business out there that has a reasonable set of licensing pays month to month? Let me tell you why you don't pay month to month. Because if you have 5 employees and you buy 5 licenses, the default subscription is month to month with a year commitment. It got us. We had multiple subscriptions for multiple things. When we didn't need those things anymore, I went to cancel those subscriptions. And I even called somebody and spoke to somebody. Microsoft says, no, sir. You need to pay because it was month to month for the year. So there's no way to change this subscription. Oh, not unless you pay top dollar and go true month to month with no discounts whatsoever. Then you can change from month to month as you see fit. Well, it's nice that plan is there. Don't get me wrong. But the discount is reasonable when you go to some commitment. It's usually 75 cents to $1.50 per account per month, depending on what you choose and your add-ons that you choose with it. You can do a little better. So what company, I call it strategic that they're doing it in July. You're halfway through the year. Half are going to be happy. Half are going to get burned. Because when they get that bill, the financial officer or whoever's in charge of the finances for the company will say, why are we paying Office more money? They're going to tell the IT guy, well, just go right in there and we can kill Sally, Sue, Jane, Bill, and Bob's license because they don't work here. We replaced them with AI earlier this year. And Microsoft is going to say, no. You're going to finish this 6 months and you're going to pay our elevated price. So it's a tricky, anytime Microsoft messes with these subscription prices, they're good at it. It's a little tricky how they work that out.
I feel like this is the second time they've raised it within a year and a half.
Well, they raised personal earlier this year.
Oh, personal, you're okay.
The personal subscription that most people have, just the basic Office 365 and OneDrive that comes with Windows. They added Copilot to that, so therefore they chose to update the subscription price, which I opened Word the other day and had to create some documents, and it's right up there now. The bar is right there in the middle of your screen. Ask Copilot. I mean, it's in front of you, folks. They want you to use it a few times, so you'll go get that Copilot Enterprise subscription over there that you probably don't need.
Definitely. Unfortunately, that is the prices for everything. Everything's going up by like 33%. This seems to be the nature of things in 2025 going into 2026, which is frustrating. I got one more frustrating story, then maybe we can end the pod with something a little less frustrating. But Microsoft Store Awards 2025 leaned heavily on AI and overlooked obvious standouts. This is a post that I pulled from Windows Central. They were reporting on it. So if you want to go over there and read the full thing, go visit their site. They do great work. But I thought it was something that we should at least cover because it's another story indicative of AI potentially ruining something. According to the story, the majority, according to the keeper of the marketplace. Earlier this month, Giorgio Sardo, vice president of Microsoft Stores, shared the Microsoft Store Awards 2025 winners. Feedback on the winners has been largely negative from what the reporter has seen. There's some confusing entries on the list, including a free-to-play game that came out in 2024. Several people took to X, Twitter, I always call it Twitter, to complain about the list. The winners are also surprised the coworkers of Windows Central because, again, it seems like all of the AI tools were in the top. So amongst the 2025 winners, AI assistants, Perplexity was a winner. ChatGPT by OpenAI was a winner. For business, Invoice Maker and Estimate Creator by Moon Invoice. Computer using agents, Manus AI. Creativity, InTracker Studio. Again, another AI first tool. Developer tools was ngrok. Education was Scratch 3. And the game that won was Castlecraft by Clever Apps. Music was Moses Live. Again, the winners illustrated focus on AI-led features. Several of the apps leverage AI, such as Moses Live, using real-time AI auto separation, isolation, vocals, instruments, and dialogue, which again, is great if you are someone who is trying to save money while also doing music production. But the 2025 Game of the Year winner might have been a sign that they may have just let AI run wild on these choices instead of getting actual input from users. In the game category, Castlecraft was a free game that also was playable directly within the browser. The author of this piece, I believe it's Sean, he played Castlecraft briefly after seeing that it won in the Microsoft Store. It seemed to work fine, and it earned a 4.4 out of 5-star rating. But he couldn't help thinking about how incredible other games were that were in the Microsoft Store, such as Arc Raiders, Microsoft's own Clair Obscur, and Expedition 33. Like, those are Microsoft exclusives, and I think those did really. I think Expedition 33 was Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 was one of the best RPG games that has come out this year. Hollow Knights, Silksong, and Doom: The Dark Ages, another Microsoft kind of exclusive, didn't win. This random free-to-play game won. And again, perhaps it had more downloads. You mentioned that, but I doubt it did. You were going to compare play for play each of these games. It's weird that the AI nature of this saying, hey, we see that a lot of people may have picked this game. It's a free-to-play game, easy to get, but it may not have been the best game. So what are your thoughts on all of these AI tools in the Microsoft Store? Because they push it heavily. It's like they had its own section, and this random game from 2 years ago kind of winning.
I had never heard of a few of those. And maybe I'm wrong for having not heard of those, but you would think things that make the store awards most consumers would have heard of. That's kind of what makes me feel like AI had a run at this selection. Or maybe they took some metric of most downloads on such and such day, or most downloads between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m. on Saturday morning while watching Roadrunner. But I don't like this. I'd love to see last year's list and the year before that, just to compare what those might have been, because these were top Microsoft Store apps for the year, correct?
Correct.
So you want me to believe that the top app is everything is AI and a game that even I hadn't heard of until I read your post?
Exactly. What's even more troubling, though, is that all of those AI tools are there when you have Copilot baked right in. That's not good.
No.
That's like seeing Skype as a number one app, even though you have, I guess, Meet in there. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
If you're using a Samsung phone or any Android phone and you got Skype in there, like I said, it's nice that those are in there, but if Copilot is the thing that you sell, the thing that you provide for free, the taster or whatever for everybody, and ChatGPT and Perplexity are the number one apps in the store that you run and manage on the same platform that you provide it, which should be an equivalent AI experience. it should be other things. It should be things that are complementary
Mhm.
to the AI experience, not the AI language
Absolutely.
model or the tool itself. So Microsoft, this is just perhaps another own goal, essentially, when you release these stats and Copilot isn't, Copilot can't be in there because it's not in the store, but the idea that people are dependent on these other ones from the store doesn't look good. We will move on to hopefully some brighter stories.
I
The
think
ones we
so.
got is some hardware. You want to talk about hardware?
Yep, I always want to talk about hardware, and I especially want to talk about gaming devices or gaming upgrades or gaming machines. And we have found something interesting here. Alienware, for those that don't know, Alienware came back this year. They reintroduced the Alien 51 lineup, Area 51 lineup that you can see there on the screen. Kind of gives you some vibes of the old days and some new technology. And when they first came out earlier this year, they were purely Intel. But now we have good old AMD Ryzen 9000 series. X3D has come to Alienware. You got to get that top. You got to get that top spec though. So be prepared to ask Santa Claus for lots of money, lots of gift cards this year, because you're definitely going to need them. But for those gamers out there, you understand that X3D chip offers you just a little bit better performance, gets you a little more frames, runs a little cooler. Now, keep in mind, these machines were not just plug and play. Alienware put in the research to keep these, I almost said Intel, to keep these AMD chips cool. We've got a brand new cooling system in there to keep, as you said, how much money do you want to spend? How cheap do you want to do, or how expensive do you want to do it? How many frames do you want to push? So let me give you just a quick rundown of how much these bad boys will cost you. While I'm doing that, just a quick reminder, you've got a combination fan that's 140 millimeters and dual 180 millimeter fans. Try to keep your gaming rig cool. But guess what? In typical Alienware fashion, the top spec is out first. We'll see the lower specs later. So to get the AMD, let me make sure I read this right. The AMD Ryzen 7 9800 X3D with a GeForce RTX 5080, you're going to need $3,200. That's what you're going to need to get that AMD chip in your Alienware desktop this holiday season in the first part of 2026 with lower configurations, kind of like the Intel models. The lower configurations with the 5070, 5060 will come later. So, my question to the gamers out there, is AMD worth $3,200? That's what it boils down to. Is it worth $3,200?
Yeah, in this package, they get 200 watts of CPU power, more than 600 watts of GPU power. To your point, they get the RTX 5080, at least from the base model. I think if you get up to if you had another 1,000, you get the 5090.
I didn't even go there.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's an option for the most privileged. You can get 12 terabytes of NVMe SSD storage. And you get this new casing, which has to your point, has the dual fan and triple intake fan setup, which should flow air ideally through it faster and keep things cooler. Allows you to have less latency and whatnot. I mean, it's top of the line stuff. Never have been, probably never will be a Tower desktop user. So all of these specs and numbers fall on deaf ears when it comes to me, but I'm sure whoever just heard all this might have been perked up. These are available, I believe, now. I think you can start getting them. AMD will be talking, obviously, I mean, not AMD, but Alien will be talking more about some stuff that accompanies these things as far as accessories at CES this year. So if you want to wait roughly 4 weeks or so, you could probably buy a bundle package of things that go with this thing. Or if you already have something of equivalent power you've already built at your house or in your office or wherever you game, you can wait to CES to see, hey, maybe there's a pair of headsets or controllers or keyboards or anything else like that that may be coming down the pipeline to accompany that. So keep your eyes out on that. This seems really cool. I mean, it's also, with all those GPUs, this is not just for gaming. You can do a ton of developing as far as sim stuff is related, architecture, anything that's using 3D modeling. You can probably do with ease. Hot butter through knife. I mean, a knife through hot butter. So a hot knife through butter. There's a saying. You can probably do it that way. So keep your eyes on that. We'll keep reporting on those. We have our last section, which is our predictions for the week, and then we'll get into free play days, and that'll be the end of the pod. So what are you predicting for tech either next week or throughout the end of the year?
Well, let's see. It is the 5th, so Santa Claus comes in 20 days or so. I predict there's going to probably be some drunk tech employees, a lot of Christmas parties. But in serious note, for something tech, I would imagine we're going to see more discussions about AI. I think that's what we're going to see, because as you were talking about it after we had discussed it, this reminds me of the beginnings of the Chrome Internet Explorer battle. But there's so many players out there now. It's not just Google and Microsoft anymore. There's AI models out there we've not discussed that are doing things, that are making a difference, that are making headway. Adobe has their AI models for the creatives out there. Canva has theirs. We've seen those. So I think we're setting ourselves up for, there's going to be a lot of holiday discussions at the holiday Christmas table and at the holiday Christmas party about AI, because everybody's looking, what is that thing? What is that piece that puts us ahead? What's that piece that nobody has? What's that thing that nobody's done? And I know we harp on this a lot. We do. But that's where we are. And I think that's where these companies are headed. And it would not surprise me to see somebody hit the ground with something January 2 of 2026. Because somebody somewhere at their home, at their office, is working a little overtime. They've been told to. They've been given secret information. They're probably getting paid well to do it. Hey, we've got this idea. While there's nobody in the office or there's nobody home, can you check this out for us? Can you look into this? Can you see what we can do with this? And somebody's doing it. And that's the way I feel. I think that's how we're going to finish the year, because as we know, once you get about 10 days from now, the year's pretty much finished in most companies anyway, except for the parties and the goodbyes and the, people taking their Christmas, vacation so they don't lose it by the end of the year. But I think there's going to be somebody somewhere working on some AI every minute they possibly can.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a pretty safe one. I'm going to go with a more somber one, which is probably going to be some more companies dumping employees at the end of the year.
Yeah, you got a good one there.
News isn't covering it. It's the end of the year. They're probably doing, they've already done their quarterlies, which I believe all happened the last couple of weeks ago. We've written about those, but I do see perhaps some gaming studios saying goodbye to a significant amount of people. Same thing as more of AI becomes their go-to excuse. Now, again, my hope is that these companies realize that you can't replace people with AI. AI is not trustworthy. It's also not as efficient. But it's a new toy, so they're all playing with it right now. I'm hoping, maybe in mid-2026, they say, you know what, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Can you please come back? We'll use AI in different complementary ways. But I do see employees, unfortunately, being laid off. And another prediction, this is more actually going into 2026, more of all of watching 2026 evolve. We didn't report on, but Adobe bought SEMrush, which is it's a brand visibility platform, and I think they're about to try and compete with Canva when it comes to offering a full stack online branding website experience. They have the creatives where you can build things, and then you'd have to go apply them yourselves. But with SEMrush, they'll be able to have access to website telemetry that will allow them to also tie in that same telemetry into how they develop and create. So I think we're about to see a Canva, Adobe head-to-head in going after almost the exact same markets than we did previously before, where one was creative and one was marketing and branding. I think we're about to see both. So those are my predictions. Let's get into free play days and let's get out of here.
Let's do it. Let's talk about a little games, get some people playing something, and let's see. It's right at 5 o'clock, so it's going to be 5 o'clock here, and we'll talk about beer and everything that goes after that. So it might be cold outside, but at least here in the United States, Microsoft wants you to stay inside this weekend and play these 6 games as part of free play days. They started yesterday, December 4th, and last all the way to Sunday, December the 7th. This week we have Bassmaster Fishing, Everspace 2, Astra Ascending, Way of the Hunter are available this weekend to Game Pass members. Now, these you've got to have the membership for you, so make sure you've paid somebody something for that Game Pass membership. We won't get into that. So, for the rest of them, free play titles, Destiny 2 expansion, The White Queen, and let's see, Lightfall and The Final Shape. Don't know what The Final Shape is. I think that's going to be one that I try out this weekend. Those are free through December 9th, and Descenders is also free through December 9th. Remember, I always tell people, make sure you catch the deals if there's something you like on free play days. The deals are pretty good. We don't have as many deals this week, so Microsoft might be getting a little stingy on the old free play days. We've got Everspace 2, $14.99. We've got Astra Ascending for make sure I read this right, $7.99. And Descenders, don't know how we come up with this one, but it's $6.24. You can always get rolling on these by going to xbox.com, or you can, as I always complain, go to that place nobody goes, your membership, slide down to your Game Pass, slide down to free play days, and there they are. So there's nothing obvious on the dashboard yet that pops up on Thursday and lasts through Sunday that says free play days. Try these. Wonder why.
Yeah. Those look like some fun games. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be playing any of those because I am stuck playing Cosmic Invasion. You can get this on Game Pass as well. So if
I haven't tried that one.
It is fun. If you remember the old days of the side-scroller beat-em-ups, this is one of like the Double Dragons, the Streets of Rage kind of games. That's what this is, and it's just came out Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been addicted to it ever since. I would suggest playing it. Again, it's very simple. It's about a 4-button bash-up combo kind of thing. Your 16 or 32-bit graphics. They keep it very basic, but a lot of fun, a lot of replayability because each level has different challenges that are associated with each character. So you might need to beat someone up with 10 different moves by one character, or smash a number of boxes in a level, or whatever. It's really fun. And it's also, like I said, it's free to play if you have free to play if you have Game Pass. It's on the Game Pass library. You can also get it on Steam, I believe, for like $30, $23, something like that. Like I said, it's been a lot of fun. And if you like any of these Marvel characters, I would suggest playing it.
I'm gonna try that one. Really, for me, I'm going to get out some streaming this weekend. It's just good old fashioned cold. I know, my buddy there down south, he likes to make it look like he identifies with the cold with his weekly sweater, and I
got a cold office.
It's actually 36 degrees today and rainy, so that's not very pleasant, and it's not going to be much better over the weekend. So I'm going to probably try the Marvel game there, and I'm probably just going to blow off some steam on the handheld with some Battlefield or some Call of Duty, put the old headphones on, and just go around and blow some things up.
Oh, you can never have too many things that need to be exploited. So, I recommend that. Get yourself something good to eat, something warm to drink, and enjoy your weekend. If people want to hang out with you this weekend, where can they find you?
Please do. That's David PHA1978. I'm over on the Blue Sky. Elon and I have officially divorced as far as tech goes, so I really don't pay attention to tech over there. And threads, I read. I don't write a lot, so make sure you check David PHA1978 over on Blue Sky, please.
Yeah, you can find me at Happy Hulk at Blue Sky, Kareem Anderson on Threads, just because it's associated with Instagram and they won't really let you change it. So I've been stuck with that one, but I do comment a little bit on there as well. As we say every week that we end the pod, we want you guys to go out, touch grass, enjoy life. It might be too
Yes.
cold to go out, so maybe get an indoor plant, touch that. Enjoy your food, enjoy your music, enjoy your video games, enjoy your media. If there's something on HBO Max, enjoy it now while it still lasts. We will see you guys hopefully next week before we go into the Christmas break. If not, we will see you guys in the new year. And we are very appreciative of you guys hanging out with us
Yes.
for another year. It's been great. It's been fun. And we hope to have some new things, some new segments, some new, maybe get some people to interview, talk to you on this podcast. We're looking to change the website a little bit, make it a little more engaging. We got some things in the works for 2026, and we hope to see you guys there.
Have a good weekend, everybody, and happy holidays.
See you later.